Hello everyone. So today's video I want to talk about server-side rendering. This is a common theme in a lot of full stack frameworks like Next.js and Nuxt.js. So I wanted to spend some time on that. So server-side rendering is technique used in web development which involves employing scripts on the server which produce a response customized for request each user's client's request to the website. Scripts can be written in any number of server-side scripting languages that are available. Server-side script. So basically, this is a script that is running on the server every time a request comes from the website. Server-side scripting is distinguished from client-side scripting, where embedded scripts such as JavaScript are run client side in a web browser, but both techniques are often used together. Alternative to either or both types of script is the web server itself is for the web server itself to deliver static web pages. So there are two different ways. One is you can deliver a static web page, or you can do something on the web page in the client side on the screen of a client. Client is basically whatever you're seeing right now on your screen, that's client. Your web browser can do something with a page. It can run a JavaScript on the web, or a script can run on the backend whenever a request comes. Or you can serve a static page where there is no script that runs. Server-side scripting is often used to provide customized interfaces for users. These scripts may assemble client characteristics for use in customizing the response based on those characteristics, the user's requirements, access right, etc. Server-side scripting also enables the website owner to hide source code that generates the interface. This is one thing whereas with client-side scripting, the user has access to all the code received by the client. So, if you don't want to share your code, you can do a server-side scripting. If you're okay sharing your code, you can do a client-side. But server-side will give you faster. It has some benefits. The downside of use of server-side scripting is that client needs to make further requests over the network to the server in order to show new information to the user via the web browser. So if the script is running on the server side, there has to be a request sent from client to the server, and that request can take some time. These requests can slow down the experience of the user, place more load on the server, prevent use of application where when the user is disconnected from the server. So if there is no internet, this will not work. When the server serves the data, when the server serves data in a commonly used manner, for example, according to HTTP or FTP protocols, user may have their choice of number of client programs. Most modern web browser can request and retrieve data using both these protocols. In case of more sophisticated application, programmer may write their own server, client, and communication protocol that can only be used with one another. So you can ignore this. Program can run on user's local computer without ever sending receiving data over a network, are not considered client, and so the operation of such program would not be considered client side operations. Okay, if the program is running on your own computer and it is not sending a request backend to the backend, that is not a client. So if you have an application that does not connect to the internet, you don't call it client. It is just a simple application. So Netscape introduced an implementation of JavaScript for server-side scripting with it is started in 1994. Uh, so I don't history is not important. Explanation is also not important. What I'm interested is in server-side rendering. With the advent of single-page application, an updated approach to server-side scripting was introduced, known as server-side rendering. So this is one kind of approach. So server-side rendering is an approach to scripting. It is a sub part of scripting. So when with server-side rendering, static HTML can be sent from server to client, and client-side JavaScript can make make then makes the web page dynamic by attaching event handlers to HTML elements in process called as hydration. So what happens here is, uh, first what happens here is, first you have the website created on the server. The server creates the website in an HTML, simple HTML format, and then the client side JavaScripts attaches handlers to specific elements with something called as hydration. Example of frameworks that support server-side rendering include Next, Angular, and React. An alternative to server-side rendering is static site generation. With server-side rendering, the page is generally assembled on the server once per request. By contrast, with static site generation, the application generates all static pages at build time. So static pages are built at the build time. These static built pages are then sent to client at each request without having to build them again. So you already have the pre-built pages in some private repo, and you just serve those static sites. This leads to faster rendering time since a new page does not have to generate on every request. The server simply hands over a file it already generated in the past. The downside is that when some data on the page changes, it needs to be rebuilt. For example, static site generation tools like Jekyll and Gatsby. Site generated with static site generation tools are often hosted on Vercel, Netlify, or GitHub pages. So there are number server side scripting languages available. You have Haskell is something I like, Hack, Go, JavaScript, TypeScript should also be there. Where is Type? You also see servers, client side scripting, content management system, Edge site includes Next.js, outline of web design and web development, and this seems like an interesting thing to see. Server side includes, let's look at side includes for a couple of seconds. Is a simple interpreted server side scripting language used almost exclusively for World Wide Web. It's a server side scripting language. It is most useful for including contents of one or more file into a web page. Using its include directive. It is commonly it could commonly be a common piece of code throughout a site such as page header, page footer, or navigation menu. It's not, it's just a language. And outline of web design and web development. This is important. So what is this following outline is provided as an overview of topical guide to and a topical guide to web design and web development, two very related fields. Okay, web development. I'll go through this in a upcoming stream. So this is enough for current stream. Let's do a short summary of what we have learned. We have learned that server side scripting is where the script is running on the server on every request from the client, and server side rendering is one type of server side scripting where the web page is created on the server before it is, and you just send HTML files to the front end. What that do is that gives you a fast loading time. So when you have single page applications with React or Vue.js, what happens is those applications take a lot of time to build on the fly. But if you do it on the server, that saves some time. Also, what is interesting is you can also have static site generation. uh, this static site generation where you already pre-build all the pages that you are going to show, and then you just send those pages, so you don't have to run the script every time there's a request, and that saves a lot of computation on your end. So those were the key learnings from this video. I hope you have enjoyed this. If you're interested in structured learning, then you can look at my Udemy courses. Thank you everyone. Bye.